Number 33, Stanley Frazier. Number 34, Edward Jones. Number 43, Martin Koper. And now let's meet the starting lineup for Marshall High School. At forward, a junior, 6'3½", number 32, Kevin Rice.
A good jumper, averaging 7.2.
At forward, a senior, 6'1½", number 42, James Horn.
Horn averages 12.5 points per game.
Starting at center for the Commandos, a junior, 6'3", number 44, Joe Stiffen.
He can light up the sky with his jumping and 18 points a game.
At guard, a junior, 5'11", number 21, Anthony Upshaw.
Upshaw averaging 5 points per ball game.
And at guard for Marshall, a senior, 5'9", number 11, Fred Marshall.
Marshall averages 14.7 and had an amazing 26 points in the victory over St. Joe.
And now let's meet the Tigers of the East St. Louis Lincoln High School with a record of 27 wins, only 1 defeat. The head coach of the Tigers, Benny Lewis. Number 11, Earl Jones. Number 12, Ed Jones. Number 14, Baron Wilson. Number 20, Derek Moses. Number 30, Roderick Horn. Number 33, Dwayne Chapman. Number 34, Tommy Reed. And now let's meet the starting lineup for the Tigers of East St. Louis Lincoln. At forward, the senior, 6'5", number 40, Todd Porter.
They call him Magic. 17.5 a game. He had 16 in the quarterfinals.
At forward, a junior, 6'6", number 44, Mark Dale.
Powerful forward, averaging 10.2.
Starting at center for the Tigers, a senior, 6'6", number 42, Tyrone Jackson.
Averaging 11 rebounds and 12 points per game.
At guard, a junior, 6'2", number 24, Daryl Morgan.
Morgan averages in double figures at 10.
And a guard for East St. Louis Lincoln, a junior, 6'2", number 22, Calvin Pfeiffer.
The playmaker coming off a fine game yesterday in the quarterfinals. Those are the Tigers of East St. Louis Lincoln. Coached by Benny Lewis, and there's your officials for this first game. Jim Wendt of LaGrange Park, Matt Lorich of Aurora. One of your network sponsors, DeKalb Ag Research.
Acres of gold are keeping America going.
Hey, Mom, when do we eat?
Acres of gold are keeping the trade winds blowing.
Go on. Thanks, Grandpa.
Acres of gold keep the economy growing.
I'm gonna sit by you, Grandma. Oh!
It's a great feeling knowing we've got acres of gold.
DeKalb, as much a part of American farm life as having supper with the family.
It's a great feeling knowing we've got acres of gold.
You're looking at the map showing Marshall and Chicago and Cook County and East St. Louis Lincoln in the southern part of the state. And we're set for basketball at the Assembly Hall in white, East St. Louis. In the maroon and gold, Chicago Marshall. You're looking at the starting lineups. The Chargers, or the Tigers of East St. Louis Lincoln, have size advantage on the Commandos, but the Commandos have maturity in their guards and quickness, Dick Campbell.
Yes, that quickness and that jumping ability seems to offset size, so we'll see. Marshall was just super yesterday if they can play up to that level.
All right, the opening tap comes off, and it's out of bounds to the Tigers of East St. Louis Lincoln. This should be a fun ball game. The teams are very similar.
Yeah, they're not concerned about tempo control. I think they'll just push it up and down the court and get into quick offense. Certainly, Marshall's concern would be packing back in, as they always do. Porter's going to have to bail out Lincoln with that perimeter shooter.
At the high post, Tyrone Jackson is outside. He's 6'6" and 200. He's powerful. Daryl Morgan's 24, and Pfeiffer's at the point. On the right wing is Todd Porter, and he's their big star, going across inside, stepped along the baseline, but stepped out of bounds. Porter, number 40, turns the ball over to the Marshall Commandos. Marshall was absolutely superb here yesterday. They did everything well. They shot 37 free throws in the game and made 25 and only committed 12 turnovers. They played with poise and maturity. Steffen inside. The great jumper is fouled going to the glass. Joe Steffen, 6'3" junior, number 44.
2-on-1 down at the other end of that press, and they bring that ball right at Porter, and he draws that first foul. One of the concerns that Benny Lewis had was foul trouble all season long, and they can't afford to have Porter in any kind of trouble, and he's drawn the first one.
This is Joe Steffen, and he has the first point of this first semifinal game. In our second game today, Quincy will go after another victory, this time against Chicago Mendel Catholic. Crowd still coming in at the Assembly Hall. A Steffen shot goes out, and Todd Porter rebounds for the Tigers in white. Porter is 6'5". He's a senior co-captain. Pfeiffer throws it way up ahead, and a lucky break. It puts in the hands of Mark Dale. He tries a left-hander. Tipping at it is Jackson. Rebound Marshall. Way down on the other end is James Horn. He frees himself, goes to the basket, missed the layup, and the rebound comes to Jackson. And this game is going to be played above the rim a lot of the time.
Tyrone Jackson averages 6 block shots a game, and that was the evidence, his jump right there.
Morgan shot on the other end for East St. Louis is rebounded by Dale for 2. Mark Dale puts Lincoln in the lead 2-1. And it's zone pressure by the Tigers, and Todd Porter tips it out of bounds. But Marshall will control. Both teams are capable of putting on good defensive pressure.
Right, both of them full court pressing, the diamond and one in both cases.
With the ball is Fred Marshall, a 5'9" senior who had a great game. 26 points yesterday. Their floor leader. He's fiery out there. He tries to pump up his team. Steffen inside, puts it up and short. Rebound coming down to Mark Dale. Steffen had to shoot that ball up over the leaping Tyrone Jackson. That's Todd Porter in the corner. His first shot. Missed the works. Rebound comes down to the running Fred Marshall, and he's called for walking. Took that big giant step. 1 turnover apiece in the early going. Basketball in the morning at the Assembly Hall. Benny Lewis, the Tiger coach.
Here's Marshall packing it back in. They've announced they're going to make people beat him from the outside, and the key man again is Porter, who didn't draw iron the last time he put it up, but he's the one outside shooter. They're suspect from the outside, being a 46% shooting team.
Outside is Calvin Pfeiffer. Had a couple of slam dunks yesterday. Morgan shoots outside. That's not good. Rebound nicely by Tyrone Jackson. Boy, he's a powerful young man. Inside, Dale steps in, puts it up and in. Dale has the first 4, and Lincoln leads 4-1. East St. Louis, Lincoln on defense now as Marshall comes down to James Horn, right baseline. Looks outside. Anthony Upshaw is 21. He came into the starting lineup when a junior named Michael Dowdy broke a leg. Fred Marshall picks up where he left off yesterday. 4-3. The Tigers by 1. The Commandos on the D, double teaming the ball. Dale across. Right wing and outside is Pfeiffer. Breaks into the paint and kicks it over to Morgan. Morgan plants and shoots. Like that, it's 6-3. Anthony Upshaw is double teamed in the backcourt. This zone defense on the full court. Walking violation. And Marshall turns the ball over. Lincoln has it with a 6-3 advantage, and Lincoln right now has a bigger rooting section here in the Assembly Hall than Marshall.
Lincoln coach Benny Lewis is concerned about turnovers. They average 25 to 26 a game. Now, can you get into the championship round, into the play for the championship, making that many turnovers? We'll have to wait and see. Maybe today they won't turn it over that much.
Pfeiffer fakes the shot, wheels it outside to Morgan, who pops it up. Morgan hits one from outside. 4 points for Morgan, 4 points for Dale, and the Tigers lead 8-3. East St. Louis Lincoln applies the pressure. Horn comes to the left, in the goal. Horn slides, scoops it up, doesn't get it. And a foul on Chicago Marshall. I think it's on Horn.
Nice defensive play there by Todd Porter. He stepped in, man out of control there. Horn trying to wheel around, and there you see number 40 get position clearly way ahead of the movement of the penetrating player.
East St. Louis Lincoln on the fly as Porter heading to the right baseline, curls back outside to Morgan. Morgan's going to try it again. Good again.
3 for 3 out there. They need outside shooting against that packed-in defense.
It's 10-3, and there's timeout on the court by Marshall with 4:32 to go. Lincoln by 7. One of your network sponsors is Country Companies Insurance.
At Country Companies, we believe you're responsible for your own actions behind the wheel. And if you drive better, drive defensively, you shouldn't have to pay the same rates as people who don't. So, if you are a safe driver, good enough not to have had an accident or moving violation in the last 3 years, Country Companies will give you a 15% discount on your auto insurance premium. 15%. And if you keep up the good work for another 3 years, we'll give you another 5% discount. Driving is costly enough today. Don't pay more for auto insurance than you have to. Make the switch to Country Companies. That's the spirit.
Spirit's alive for all to see. The spirit of the Country Company.
Dick Campbell, East St. Louis Lincoln shows some good outside shooting in the early going.
Daryl Morgan had the hot hand, 3 for 3. That's what they needed against that packed-in defense.
Frank Bissoni along with Art Kimball and Dick Campbell. If you're not hearing from Art Kimball much, he's resting his laryngitis, and we'll hear from him a little later as Horn goes in along the baseline to the basket. And there's a foul on Lincoln. It's on Tyrone Jackson, 42. Foul picked up Matt Lorich, the official making the call there. And at the foul line goes James Horn. Horn is 75% foul shooter, very good. Marshall is off to a slow start compared to yesterday when they often winging early. Horn's free toss is home. While Lincoln is taller, Marshall doesn't take a backseat to many in strength. Horn missed that one. There's Stiffen, 2. Joe Stiffen, the big jumper, and Marshall picks up 3 quick points and presses all over. Whistle, a violation against the Tigers, and Marshall has the ball back.
Marshall went to the full court man-to-man press there, a change up from the zone press they were playing earlier, and caused that first turnover.
Marshall gets Kenneth Mixon, a 6'2.5" junior in the game, number 31, and he gave them a genuine lift off the bench yesterday. Kevin Rice is 32, out to Fred Marshall, fakes the shot, double team, and clears to Anthony Upshaw. There's the general, Fred Marshall. He runs the offense for Luther Bedford's Commandos. Coming up to post up is Kevin Rice. They don't see him. Now Stiffen goes low on the other side. Coming out high is Mixon. Marshall kicks it over to Mixon, slides it downstairs, intended for Kevin Rice and out of bounds. Turnover number 3 against Marshall. 3:52 in the first quarter, and the Tigers of East St. Louis Lincoln lead by 4. Todd Porter comes to help out on the backcourt as Daryl Morgan whips it up ahead to Tyrone Jackson. Most teams try to beat pressure by taking the ball to the middle of the court. Todd Porter, 6'5" and 195. Good-looking basketball player. Morgan shoots again, 4 in a row. He's got 8 points, and Daryl Morgan, who only averages 10 a game, has 8 already. 12-6. Big lift from Morgan. Shot out of the left side by Rice is not good, and the rebound comes over to Todd Porter. The Tigers are 27-1, beaten only by Kankakee Westview. Inside it goes, intended for Markdale. Westview defeated the Tigers 57-42. One loss on the season. Lincoln throws the ball in. Calvin Pfeiffer. Lob into Morgan. Here he comes. 5 goals in a row for the red-hot Daryl Morgan. He's got 10, and he's taken off like a Saturn rocket here and gotten Lincoln off to an early lead. And Marshall turns the ball over as Mixon lost the handle. And all of a sudden, the momentum is on the side of the Tigers. Calvin Pfeiffer pushes the ball up the court. Tries to move away from the defense and whips it over to Morgan. Will it be fixed? No. Leaping for the rebound in the lane is Fred Marshall, trying to clear out of trouble. Marshall gets it back, now stolen by Pfeiffer of Lincoln. 5 turnovers on Marshall. 2-on-2. Marshall's defense back, and Pfeiffer took it to him anyway and drew the foul on Fred Marshall.
Here comes Pfeiffer on the drive. Made a nice sideward move there to avoid the contact and got bumped coming in on a slide.
Number 10, Michael Brown. As you see Daryl Morgan having a word there on the sidelines with Benny Lewis.
Calvin Pfeiffer, the playmaking guard at that free throw line right now, is a very instrumental, very key player to this team. He has a tendency to revert back to playground basketball, according to his coach at various times, but he's strong with that dribble, and he can take it to the hole, but he protects it well, and he's going to have to in this ball game because Marshall puts a lot of pressure on you at the guard in particular.
Lincoln leads 15-6, and Pfeiffer puts up another one and scores, and he had a lot for their motivation yesterday too, and he hit a couple of slam dunks on breakaways. Number 10 in the backcourt, Michael Brown, a 5'8" senior, in for Marshall. Joe Stiffen, up one up and in. Stiffen has 5 quick points, 16-8 now is Lincoln's lead. Stiffen is so strong. He takes off, he just goes up square and pushes that ball home. Pfeiffer on the move right, wheels it inside to Dale, puts it in.
Beautiful,
Mark Dale.
Beautiful penetrating pass. Got inside the defense, dealt it off inside for that layup.
Dale has good hands. He has 6 points. Along the baseline, Mixon is caught. A whistle, and Mixon called for walking, and Marshall has already turned the ball over 6 times in the entire game yesterday. They only had 12 turnovers.
And they're not forced errors. They're 6 turnovers from nervousness for a slide in the foot. It isn't caused by the pressure either.
The 75th year of the state tournament. But we're producing our 85th and 86th tournament champions with our Class A and AA. 85th was Lawrenceville a weekend ago, and now we're shooting for the 86th as Todd Porter tries, and tipped in by Tyrone Jackson. 20-8, Lincoln leading Chicago Marshall, and Tyrone Jackson went up and tipped it in with the right hand. 1:30 in the first. Stiffen tries to answer on the other end and is fouled.
Fouled by Daryl Morgan. Morgan playing with a lot of enthusiasm, and here he gets carried away, goes up after that shot, follow through, and he gets Stiffen. Frank Stiffen here, of course, we saw yesterday. He's the hub of the attack here. He's a fine basketball player for Marshall. He's a great scorer, a great leaper, extremely strong, can go inside or out.
It was Lowell Lucas, the Proviso West coach, who's quoted as saying anybody that can out-jump Joe Stiffen will be eating moon sandwiches. Free throw up and in by Stiffen, and I guess Stiffen has just displayed incredible leaping ability all year, and we saw it in the first game yesterday. 1:29 to go in the first quarter, and Stiffen shoots for his 7th point, but missed it. It's 20-9 Lincoln. They have the basketball, and let's see if they're going to be a little more patient as they come down the court here. With Porter going inside to Jackson. He goes up by the rim, and he was called for charging as he made a power move to the basket and couldn't get it to drop.
Yeah, I think he wanted to stuff that baby home. As we were told in the finals of the sectional, all 5 of those starters stuffed 1 time in that 4th quarter. He wanted to go for it, missed it. It could have been a technical because he got a little hold of the ring, but he did foul on the ensuing reaction to the rebound.
2 fouls on Tyrone Jackson here in the first quarter. Now Marshall finding themselves down by 11. Gets a shot by Stiffen. It's up and no good. And rebounding well is Mark Dale. And there's one of the big answers for the Tigers. The Commandos are getting one shot. And East St. Louis Lincoln is doing the work on the backboard. Porter's on the right wing. It's a zone defense. A 2-3 for Marshall. Pfeiffer tries to get out of trouble and gives to Morgan. Morgan's had a very hot hand here in the first quarter. Under a minute now as Pfeiffer heads for the right baseline. Pulls up and tries. Doesn't get it. Tip in the air. Marshall running. 3-on-2. Marshall. Upshot turns and is swatted away by Mark Dale.
Boy, we are seeing the leaping ability of East St. Louis in this game. There he comes down, coming from the rear on the offside. Clearly gets a shot and bats it out of bounds.
Reject. Anthony Upshaw clears to Marshall. In the corner, left-hander up, rattling around, dropping through by James Horn. Horn has 3 points, his first goal, 20-11. Half a minute to go here in the first period. Oh, off ball, right out here in front of us. Bounced off the hand, though, of Upshaw. Marshall and Lincoln controls. Pfeiffer had the ball drop right off his fingertips.
Yeah, he was just almost handed to him. He was so surprised that he couldn't get the handle on it.
20-11. Now 20 seconds, and it looks like the Tigers will settle for the last shot of this quarter if they can get it. Marshall's content to sit back. That's a 1-2-2 zone, or perhaps a 3-2, depending on your terminology. Coming across is Pfeiffer, going all the way down the lane, called for walking with 5 seconds. And now the Commandos have a chance for that last shot of the quarter. Wonder if they'll try to get it to Joe Stiffen. They throw it right in the hands of Darrell Morgan. Coming the other way is Pfeiffer at the buzzer. Good! Calvin Pfeiffer hits his 4th point. And at the end of 1 quarter, Lincoln has doubled Marshall 22-11. One of your network sponsors is John Deere.
How long does a John Deere lawn tractor last? 10 or 15 years is not unusual, which means with ordinary use, you could mow a path from New York, across Pennsylvania, through Indiana, Missouri, Kansas, Colorado, Utah, all the way to the West Coast. Imagine mowing clear across America. Just think how many times you could mow your lawn. John Deere, you may pay a little more, but they'll last.
Rattle, rattle, thunder, clatter, boom, boom, boom. Don't worry, call the CarX man.
You know, it's real easy to get a CarX muffler installed. We'll do it while you wait. And before we do it, we'll show you the parts that need fixing and the parts that don't. The ones that do, we'll fix. The ones that don't, we won't. I'm a poet.
Rattle, rattle, thunder, clatter, boom, boom, boom. Don't worry, call the CarX man.
The first state champions of Illinois, Peoria Central in 1908. They were 17-1. Pretty snappy uniforms there, Dick.
They may come back.
Basketball is 90 years old. March 11th, 1892, and it's the only major sport founded in America. And I wonder if Dr. Naismith ever thought it would come to this. The experiment worked. We're in the second quarter, and you see the first quarter stats. The Tigers leading with 56% shooting. The Commandos only 4 of 10. Look at the difference in shots. 50% free throwing the Commandos, rebounding the Tigers 10-7, and the Commandos with 8 turnovers to 3. Todd Porter whips the ball along the baseline to Morgan. He didn't have position, shot anyway and missed. Marshall's got the ball, and this is Fred Marshall whirling to the goal. 2.
Super move, super move. A dribble, whirling dribble, and laid it up strong. He's 5'10", 5'9", but he plays bigger than that.
Double dribble called on East St. Louis Lincoln, and now Marshall tries to rally back. They sure have the capacity.
Marshall's got to make a run and get up close, of course, and East St. Louis has that ability to turn the ball over in flurries, so stay with us, folks. It's going to be a ball game.
Inside, Joe Stiffen puts it up and in. He used his strength just to barge his way through there, and 4 quick points for Marshall to open the second quarter. Pfeiffer to Morgan. Morgan's been an outside shooting star in the first quarter for Lincoln.
It's man-to-man defense that Marshall has gone to now.
Let's see if they'll go inside and use their superior size against the man-to-man. They go 6'6", 6'6", and 6'5" inside. And now they've kept the ball outside to Pfeiffer. Dale Tigers being very patient here. Setting up their offense. Here's a steal by Fred Marshall. Nicely done. The Commandos come back. Trying for 6 points in a row. Fred Marshall's on the move.
Big time move there. He jumped, the one to deal it off, but there was no place to jam it in and shot off that move and scored.
He's making a great bid on an all-tournament team. He had 26 points in the front game in the quarterfinals, and he's back playing well again. Inside, Tyrone Jackson is fouled before the shot. Marshall is only down by 5 points now, as they trail 22-11 at the quarter and have scored the first 6. Foul was on 44. Joe Stiffen. And Lincoln has the ball out of bounds. They line up against the man-to-man. Todd Porter makes his move, and he's fouled. Foul's going against Kenneth Mixon. Trying to handle Porter as he made a move toward the lane. Todd Porter scored 42 points in his last 2 ball games. Once again, Lincoln, they haven't scored yet here in the second quarter. Frank Gattoni along with Art Kimball. Coach Dick Campbell from Elmhurst, York, whose team went to the final 16. Inside, nicely done, and it went to Tyrone Jackson, and it's going to count. He made a power move inside.
Yeah, we'll see that. This is the type of problem that the mismatches in size. A good post up down in there, got him on the hip on the top side, and Strong took it up, hung, drew the foul, got the bucket.
Anthony Upshaw is down there at 5'11", trying to defend 6'6" and 200-pound Tyrone Jackson there on your screen. 3-point play puts Lincoln back up 25-17. 6:18 to go in the first half. Fred Marshall comes down the court, goes all the way, throws it up. It's in block, goaltending, called against Tyrone Jackson. He got it on the way down.
Very clearly, right. Now that's Marshall with the last 6 points, right? Marshall for Marshall.
And now the pressure extends to three-quarter court. Upshaw falls down. Porter weaves through, gives to Morgan. Can he hold on to it? No. 5 turnovers against the Tigers.
If the Tigers can get set up and utilize that strength inside, it's tough.
All right. Fred Marshall lopes up, pushes his man to center. It's Stiffen. They clear on the right to Horn. He turns and gives back to Stiffen. Goes to the goal. Joe Stiffen. He's got 10, and it's a 4-point ball game. Marshall has answered the challenge and come back in the game. With a high lob down to Porter. Right side. He's 18 feet from the goal. He turns and holds. Haven't heard much from Porter on the offensive end so far. He has not scored. Here's a steal by Marshall. Mixon has it. And now Commando shooting. Fred Marshall, no. Rebound Mixon, no. Next rebound, traveling called on the Commandos. They've already made 9 turnovers.
Yeah, that signal or that whistle down there, I think, was to stop the action. There was somebody getting hammered. I think Matt Loris decided to call a travel there to get things stopped. He couldn't tell who hit who.
We'll have Quincy coming up in the second semifinal game. They'll play Mendel Catholic. Mendel beat Manuel 53-51 last night. Todd Porter arcs one up. No good. Marshall's got the rebound long. They're trying to scoot now, decide to slow it up. 5-minute mark. Marshall down by 4. Lob inside to Stiffen, who is fouled. And the crowd doesn't like the call, and it went against Tyrone Jackson. That's his 3rd foul. Big play in the game.
It certainly was. We'll take another look at that one. It looked like he was set. It looked like Porter was set. He was, but the call was made in the other direction. It was a defensive call on the block.
For East St. Louis Lincoln, 30, Roderick Horn, a 6'5" junior, comes in, and you see 42 Jackson sit down with 3 fouls. Remember this point, 4:56, 25-21, when Jackson picked up his 3rd foul. Joe Stiffen makes the free throw. He has 11.
The change in the tempo brought about by that man-to-man, although they can get exploited inside with the mismatches, it's pace that seems to be difficult for East St. Louis Lincoln to handle. So I think Marshall's playing it the way they want to now.
Stiffen again. Missed it. Todd Porter rebounds. It's so amazing to me to see how one team dominates another for 4 or 5 or 6 minutes, and then it turns right around, and the other team comes right back and does the dominating. Calvin Pfeiffer outside. Lob to Porter. He turns into the paint, goes right inside and slaps it in. Todd Porter gets his first goal of the game, and Lincoln leads by 5. They'll go to Porter now.
With Jackson out of there, right. I think he'll take more charge.
Stiffen's outside. Horn back to Stiffen, walking on Horn. And Stiffen went in and pumped it through.
That's a nice offensive attack against that end of the press. Stiffen in the middle dealing it off, and then they whip it back. There's Benny Lewis trying to get his kids settled down a little bit.
A 5-point Lincoln lead. They have the ball. Calvin Pfeiffer comes to the right, stops, gives the ball to Porter. Porter tries again, hanging shot from the foul line, and he tipped it in. It doesn't count, calls for a foul. Porter followed it, went right in. Benny Lewis wants the basket to count, and the officials say no. What do you think?
That was an excellent call. He gained advantage, an excellent call. He jumped in on top of people. He couldn't have got the shot up, and he'd not come over the backs of the defensive people.
That's the second foul on Todd Magic Porter, and all of a sudden Lincoln's getting themselves into some foul difficulties. And Joe Stiffen goes back to the line. 11 points in the game. Checking into the lineup for the Commandos, 32. Starter Kevin Rice.
This crowd is starting to warm up to this ball game, Frank. They've been a little quiet up to this point, but there's 2 fine, well-matched teams. A lot of athletes out there on the court.
Stiffen is 3 out of 6 foul shooting with 11 points.
Just a junior. He's going to be a premier player in a year.
Free throw is not good, and the rebound is to Mark Dale. Pressure on the full court by the Commandos. Pfeiffer lobs to Porter. Porter turns. He's looking to score. Ball slapped out of his hands. Last touch apparently by Lincoln, and the Commandos have it. All right. Now it's a zone defense 2-3 for Lincoln. Not packed back in too far. Here's a whistle and a foul on Calvin Pfeiffer as he made contact with Fred Marshall on the outside. Lincoln leading Marshall by 5 after leading by 11 at the quarter. Lincoln's only scored 5 points so far in the second period. Now Fred Marshall. Tough guy to defend against. He puts it up and home.
This is that 5'9" player, Fred Marshall, that I think can play on a major college level. He's got such great quickness and such great control, and he is very strong.
Remember Don Nelson's line on trying to guard Isaiah Thomas. It's like trying to catch a fly in your hand. Free throw up and in by Fred Marshall. And Marshall's Commandos are down by 3, 27-24. There's a pass on the right to Roderick Horn, who's replaced Tyrone Jackson, the big center for the Tigers, out with 3 personals. Likely will not play anymore in this first half. Daryl Morgan, outside left with a shot that doesn't go, and skying up there for the rebound is Stiffen. Ball, though, stolen nicely by the Tigers. Pfeiffer, left-hander, won't go. Horn rebound. They're rebounding upstairs, believe me. Marshall comes back outside on the slide. He's really under control on the court.
He really is, and he knows when to back it out and settle it down a little bit.
Holding high, Mixon left. Baseline left. Now, Horn shot misses everything. That's out of Horn's range, apparently. Rebound Dale. He's fouled by Mixon. Second foul on Ken Mixon, the 6th man for Marshall. Look at Dale stop that dribble.
Yeah, he picked it up. There was a time when there was a rule put in that you couldn't do that. You dribble. There was a boy by the name of Lazenby for Pinckneyville who drew about 25 free throws in a contest down here and set a new record. The next year they put the rule in that you couldn't change directions like that and draw the foul from the rear. But I think he had room to have avoided that. It wasn't that deliberate.
Mark Dale's foul shot is in and gets Lincoln to a 4-point advantage. 3:04 to go in the half. Tigers are perfect at the foul line thus far, 4 for 4. Perfect for Dale. A 5-point Lincoln lead. First half of action, first semifinal. Double A. Here's Fred Marshall. To the rebound. Comes out long to Pfeiffer. 2-on-1 against him. Now 2-on-2. Going to the left. Pulls up and shoots. It's short. Who's got it? Lincoln.
Calvin Pfeiffer is an interesting basketball player. He's a great scorer, but they've made him give up his scoring ability to run this ball club at the top. But when he gets a chance to go to that hoop, he does it.
All right, we've got a timeout on the court. Lincoln leads by 5. One of your network sponsors, DeKalb Ag Research.
Petroleum. Fertilizer. Herbicides. New equipment. When corn pays the bills, plant DeKalb XL 55A. You can depend on consistent high yields, regardless of growing conditions. Put more corn in your bins, more money in your pocket. Plant DeKalb XL 55A.
Watch the top 5 from a field of 700 of the Midwest's outstanding teen bowlers compete for top honors in the 7th Chicagoland Junior Stars Tournament, Saturday at 4 on WGN television. Hall of Fame bowler Carmen Salvino will join me, Milo Hamilton, to bring you the championship stepladder here on WGN TV9, the nation's #1 sports station. That's Saturday at 4 p.m., the Chicagoland Junior Stars Bowling Championship.
There's your first undefeated champion in Illinois, Rockford of 1911. They were coached by a gentleman named Ralph Benham. That Peoria Central team that was the first state champion was coached by Les Stracer. John Deere and your local John Deere dealer, co-sponsors of these IHSA basketball championships. Hope you're enjoying our coverage of these semifinals. They invite you to join us for the title session tonight at 6:15. All right, play in, 2:48 to go in the first period. East St. Louis Lincoln leading Marshall by 5 points. Look at the massive humanity around the goal. Lob outside Daryl Morgan. He had a hot hand in the first quarter. Gives to Calvin Pfeiffer. Lincoln stays pretty much with their starting lineup when they can. They've got Tyrone Jackson out with fouls. 2-on-2 zone. Marshall, or 2-3. Inside intended for Porter. Tipped away and tipped out of bounds. And a touch last off the foot of Calvin Pfeiffer. And the Commandos get the ball. Good break for Marshall.
The Commandos are back in that zone. They would prefer to be in that. They can protect that hoop a little bit and stay out of some foul trouble in the doing. As long as the game's close, they're able to do that.
Fred Marshall comes up, and Lincoln shows you a 2-3 zone. Seen an awful lot of zone defense in this tournament. Ken Mixon's outside, 17-footer. And the rebound is long to Daryl Morgan. The Commandos come up and wait and look. Now that zone's different this time. That's a 1-2-2. Switch defenses down the court. Well-schooled team. Porter fakes, turns, double team, hemmed in, stolen. Ball taken away by the good Marshall defense. They're coming down at the 2-minute mark. Look at East St. Louis. Now Marshall picks it back up. Here's the ball on the floor, out of bounds. Whose is it? Mark Dale just went soaring over his own bench, and there's a picture of him. Thank goodness he can jump.
He can. He ended almost in the first row of the Assembly Hall here.
By the way, the crowd is a lot better now than at the start of the game. Many of the observers for the second game are here. No way for us to estimate crowds in this large facility. The crowd's still coming in, too. All right, coming to the right. For Marshall is number 12, Bobby Williams. Williams, a 6'1 senior. This is Stiffen. Shot too hard off the glass. He tipped it out, though, to Marshall. Look at that effort. Stiffen tipped that rebound out to his teammate Fred Marshall. 1:30 to go. First half of play. Marshall's down by 5. They've got the ball. Bobby Williams, right. Stiffen turns. Had his shot partially blocked. Whistle, foul. It's on Kevin Wright.
That case of somebody trying to rebound from the bad position, coming in from the backside, reaching over from that backside.
That'll put Todd Porter at the stripe. He'll shoot 1 in bonus, and he'll try to up Lincoln's lead. Todd Porter puts it up. There's their first miss at the foul line out of 6 attempts, and Fred Marshall comes down. Still the zone for Lincoln. Left side, Bobby Williams. Looking. Marshall gets it to Fred Marshall. His shot is short. It's last touch by Marshall, and Lincoln will control the ball. 1:07. Wonder if they'll take one shot now. You take a look over at the sideline. Luther Bedford. Luther Bedford played some football at Illinois Wesleyan. Here's a pass that almost goes out of bounds. Saved at the last moment by Pfeiffer. Clock under a minute now. There's the ball going inside to Porter. Pfeiffer can whip that ball, and Porter grabbed it. He turned to the goal and was hooked.
Joe Stiffen reaching inside there picked up the foul. Here was a nice penetrating pass inside the lunge, and it was his second foul. Got him across the arms.
Oh, Porter goes right back to the line. Porter's only scored 2 points. He averaged on the season 17.6. Free throw is not good. He had 26 points in the super sectional. He had 16 in the quarterfinal game.
He's only a 48% free throw shooter.
21 coming in for Marshall Anthony Upshaw. Bobby Williams checks out. Upshaw started. Nice frame on Porter. Nice touch that time. 30-24 Lincoln. Still 50 seconds to play in the first half. Fred Marshall comes down for the Commandos. They're in the maroon and gold, representing the Chicago Public League against the independent East St. Louis Lincoln. With an enrollment of 1467, Marshall's is 2230. Stiffen, 33 seconds. Right side, looking inside to Mixon. He wants the ball. They can't go there. Upshaw holds high. 26 seconds. Marshall wants the last shot of the first half. They're down 6. They'd love to go into the locker room down only 4. Baseline left. The ball is Kevin Rice. Now 14, 13. Fred Marshall, he's the man in control of this team on the court. Mixon, lob inside. Stiffen has the ball slapped out of his hand. Now poked away and out of bounds with 4 on the clock.
I think Lincoln's found the best way to play against Marshall, and that is to get to a basket defense. Don't press them, don't play man-to-man, but get them to stand around because that quickness is kind of neutralized here in this type of game.
Fred Marshall shoots way outside. It's too long, and the rebound bounces down to Lincoln, and that's the end of the first half of action in the first semifinal at the Assembly Hall in the AA championship. East St. Louis Lincoln leading Marshall by 6 points. One of your network sponsors is Country Companies Insurance.
Wally here spent months talking Dad into letting him drop his entire life savings into this 65 edition of the Great American Dream. Well, Dad finally gave in, but only if Einstein here would keep a B average in school.
Remove cap and wrote
so he could get a 25% discount on his insurance premium from Country Companies.
That's the spirit of the country.
Fortunately for Dad's wallet, Wally can handle calculators a lot better than carburetors.
Rattle, rattle, thunder, clatter, boom, boom, boom.
Don't worry, call the CarX man.
One thing you don't have to worry about at a CarX muffler shop is the price. People call to see how much it costs and what they get for their money. And you'd be amazed how many of those callers become our customers. Of course, it could be my pleasant telephone boys. Rattle, rattle, thunder, clatter, boom, boom, boom.
Don't worry, call the CarX man.
Your halftime score showing there as East St. Louis Lincoln leads Marshall by 6. They led them by 11 at the end of one quarter, 22-11. But Lincoln could only score 8 points in the second quarter, while Marshall added 13 to their total, and the Marshall cheerleaders entertained the Assembly Hall crowd. So in our first game here, Lincoln leads at halftime. In our second semifinal, it'll be Quincy who disposed of Bennett Academy 65-45 in a much closer battle than that. It was only a 7-point game after 3 quarters, and Quincy went out and did its thing with Bruce Douglas leading the way. Then in the nightcap last night in the quarterfinals, Mendel Catholic got a tip-in at the gun from Craig McInnes to beat Peoria Manual 53-51. So that's the way it looks for our semifinals. The Marshall girls on the floor, and the Assembly Hall crowd is showing some appreciation. There's your scoring first half. Joe Stiffen leading Marshall with 11 points, and Fred Marshall, their fine guard, with 10, dividing almost all of their points. James Horn had 3. Rice and Upshaw, of course, the other starters, did not score. The East St. Louis Lincoln Tigers were led by outside shooting guard Darrell Morgan with 10 points. Dale had 8 inside. Tyrone Jackson had 5. He had 3 personals also. Todd Porter, their All-Stater, had 3 points only, and Calvin Pfeiffer with 4 points for East St. Louis Lincoln, who showed the balance in the first half of play. Now we'll have some halftime interviews for you and some features, but right now we'll take a break. One of your network sponsors is John Deere.
If you've been waiting for John Deere lawn and garden equipment to go on sale, now's your big chance. Because right now, participating John Deere dealers are having their annual down-to-earth value days sale with savings of from 40 cents to over $400. But you'd better hurry. The sale ends May 31st. And with savings like that, you won't want to let any grass grow under your feet.
Down-to-earth value days at your participating John Deere dealer.
Let's get cracking, Tony. Introducing the 1982 edition of the best-selling car in the world, the Toyota Corolla. Why is it the best-selling car in the world? Maybe people know that they can depend on it, and that gives them a very good feeling. The 1982 Toyota Corolla. Depend on it.
We're with George Zigman, the head basketball coach at Arlington High School, who played this East St. Louis ball club yesterday in the quarterfinals, and of course Dick Campbell with us as well. George, what about the first half of this ball game? Going about the way you expected?
Yes, I thought this game would be an excellent ball game and too close to call. It really pits Marshall's quickness against East St. Louis's inside strength. And if Marshall could force the turnover out front, they got a chance to beat them. But if they let it get down in a paint where those 3 big boys can operate, it'll be East St. Louis's ball game.
I thought your ball club played East St. Louis very well yesterday. They made a couple of runs at you, and that was the difference.
Well, I think they hurt us a little bit right in that second quarter, and really the last 4 minutes of the half, they had 2 8-point runs that we didn't answer, and we got too far behind. And then we felt that our 1-3-1 trap might give them trouble. It did, but unfortunately we had too much of a mountain to climb.
George, we saw you early in the season, and boy, you've come a long way from the beginning of the year. Just had a great year up there. What did it end up, 25-6?
It's 25-6, Dick. Early when we played you, my 3 seniors, Frankel, Wolf, and Telshaw, I knew were going to be pretty good ball players, but I think as my juniors improved and blended in with them, we just got better and better as the season went along.
Well, I wasn't surprised the kind of year you had. I knew that you were going to have the good ball club. You built that team over a period of time, haven't you, George?
Yes, the 3 seniors that were with me 3 years, 2 of them as starters, 1 of them was on the bench, and the 3 juniors actually were subs there and semi-starters last year. So we've really been putting that ball club together for about a 2.5-year period.
I thought you were very resourceful in making a comeback in that second half. The half-court pressure, so forth, yesterday afternoon.
Well, that's been really our best defense, and I kind of kicked myself at, in coaching, you always have an afterthought. Maybe we should have tried that at the start of the ball game, but I was afraid that with their strength and that, if we tried to trap them 32 minutes, they would wear us down too much, and we were hoping to get through the first half and stay in the ball game.
You know, George, one of the problems down here, you come from a different area, you don't really know a team until you see them and you're out there with them, and then you get some ideas after the game is over, after the fact, right?
Right. It's easier as you watch them play now, you would probably do some things a little bit different. It's not like when you can go in and scout somebody once or twice and you yourself get a look at them, because then you can make your own adaptions, and that's right, especially from the other part of the state.
I thought here at the end of this half that East St. Louis Lincoln found a way that was probably better for them to defend Marshall, and that is to get out of that press, get back and defend the hoop. You kind of neutralize some of that quickness by doing that.
Yeah, he did a smart thing there, because actually Marshall was missing some shots, but they were getting some excellent shots. And if those start falling, they could get a chance to blow out. I think he's right to force Marshall to set up and give them the 1 shot, because he does control the boards.
Thank you very much, George Zigman. Nice to have you with us, the coach at Arlington. Now back to the bench and Frank Bassoni.
Thank you, gentlemen. And the Palatine Band is entertaining the crowd here as we look at the team stats for the first half. The Tigers of East St. Louis Lincoln with 46% shooting on 12 of 26. They were 75% at the foul line. They had 19 rebounds to lead in that category, each team with 10 turnovers. The Commandos shot only 36% on 9 of 25. Weren't much better at the foul line, 6 of 11. 17 rebounds, only 2 down, and there's your turnovers at even Steven. So the first half score is 30-24. And we should like to thank all of you who wrote to us this past week. We always appreciate reading your comments about our coverage, and if you like these games, we'd like you to write to us. Please write Basketball Box 1531, Bloomington 61701. We'll continue and have the second half for you in just a moment.
Rattle, rattle, thunder, clatter, boom, boom, boom.
Don't worry, call the CarX man.
You know, it's real easy to get a CarX muffler installed. We'll do it while you wait. And before we do it, we'll show you the parts that need fixing and the parts that don't. The ones that do, we'll fix. The ones that don't, we won't. I'm a poet.
Rattle, rattle, thunder, clatter, boom, boom, boom.
Don't worry, call the CarX man.
Danley's Garage World will not be undersold. 70,000 satisfied homeowners are all the proof you need. We build better for less. Imagine, just $24.99 buys this all-new 82 Danley custom-built garage with concrete floor and sectional overhead door. We absolutely will not be undersold. Make us prove it. If you don't call Danley, you could make a costly mistake. Pay no money down. Get 100% financing, low prices, and top quality. Danley will not be undersold. Dial garages for proof. 427-2437.
Between meals, I think it's the perfect time for Snickers.
I'm starving, you know, and your stomach's turning. And you say, oh, I know what I'll get. And then you go down to the vending machine, and you grab one of your Snickers.
It's so satisfying.
Snickers is loaded with peanuts.
Peanuts and peanut butter nougat, caramel, and milk chocolate.
Satisfying.
Snickers satisfies me.
Packed with peanuts, Snickers really satisfies.
The Snickers bars really takes away the hungries.
The attractive young lady is holding a 1982's 75th anniversary basketball program, and there's great information in it. The IHSA, you can get a copy by sending $3 to Box 2715, Bloomington 61701, and please specify whether you wish the A or the AA souvenir program of the 75th anniversary basketball here at tournament in Illinois. The Assembly Hall halftime score of our first semifinal. East St. Louis Lincoln leading Marshall by 6 points. Dick Campbell, what do you think?
Well, I think Marshall has to step up the tempo by playing that man-to-man, even though they don't like the mismatches on the other end. I think the tempo speed must be picked up for Marshall to be most effective. East St. Louis, the contrary, needs to slow it down and use their size, get back in that basket defense, get out of that press, and play the way they did the last 4 minutes of that second quarter.
Now, coaches have some lingo sometimes that not all the viewers understand. When you say basket defense, I think you mean you're putting the people back close to the basket, perhaps in a zone, and pack it in tight and force the team to shoot outside.
That's right. Back to the paint. And going to that zone defense, it made Marshall have to set up, and then they started standing around, and it neutralizes, cancels out that quickness that they have. And I think that would be my strategy if I were sitting down there, and I sure wish I were.
Well, you came close this year, friend, losing to Mendel Catholic in the Sweet 16. Elmer York, a fine season, of course. The lineups, now they're going to get Tyrone Jackson back in the game. As you see, the cheerleaders of East St. Louis Lincoln, Tyrone Jackson, Todd Porter, and Mark Dale. That may be the best baseline in the tournament. And that's East St. Louis Lincoln's. But Marshall starts with the ball. And Kevin Rice has it over there. Fred Marshall's a big part of this team outside, and Joe Stiffen inside, and there's Joe giving to Marshall. He swings down the lane, shoots it up, rolls out to Morgan. East St. Louis Lincoln basketball. They turn and come back outside. Who will play who for the title tonight? One of these two teams will go against the winner of Mendel Catholic Quincy. Tyrone Jackson misses. Todd Porter tips. Dale rebounds, fouled. And the foul is on Marshall of Marshall.
You know, there's another factor about jumping. It isn't always that vertical jump. Here we are coming in, Marshall coming in from behind. We'll see him coming down the lane there. Came over the top. But there's another factor in jumping. It isn't just height, it's quick jumping, getting up quickly. And we have several examples of that out here. Joe Stiffen for Marshall is an awfully quick jumper in addition to being a great vertical jumper.
Calvin Pfeiffer lobs at the high post to Tyrone Jackson. This is Daryl Morgan. Porter rebounds inside, swatted away by Rice. Porter gets it back, steps in and scores.
That's the strength of their game. They can bear it in deep to the basket.
5 points for Todd Porter, 32-24. Answering is Kevin Rice at the foul line riser. 32-26 now. Lincoln by 6. Here's a high lob to Porter. He goes all the way in. He's stripped and fouled by Fred Marshall, and Porter had visions of the dunk.
It was almost a great defensive play. Almost a good defensive play. He got the ball, but it was a good play because it did force, it canceled that stuff and is going to put it to the line. Third foul on a very crucial player, Fred Marshall for the Marshall Commandos.
Speaking of crucial players, Todd Porter at the foul line. 7 out of 8. Check it, 6 out of 8 so far, the foul line. And Todd Porter puts it up and in. He now has a half a dozen points. Benny Lewis says when Porter thinks we're in trouble, he takes over. Benny Lewis, of course, his coach. Free throw is not good. Rebound slapped around, and nicely done. Tyrone Jackson saves it inbounds, and Lincoln has a chance to convert 2 more. Pfeiffer outside working against Anthony Upshaw. He swings to the left. He shoots. Missed the works. Shot it over the rim, and Marshall rebounds. Anthony Upshaw outside, now Fred Marshall. Look at his defense. 2-3 or zone. Coming up in the middle of it is Mark Dale. Kevin Rice is going to try from the left side of the lane and missed it. Tyrone Jackson rebounds. That basket defense, as you talked about, Dick, gives good rebounding position, too.
Yes, it does. Keeps those 3, and they're in foul trouble, too, so they're able to protect their players in there a little bit.
Easier to get fouls guarding man-to-man than it is zone. Tyrone Jackson gives out to Morgan. Morgan pulls the trigger. Daryl Morgan with a dozen points. And East St. Louis Lincoln is up now by 9. What will Marshall do? Fred Marshall rattles one out. Stiffen tipped it in on a follow.
That was a big-time follow. He hung there and stuffed it back in.
13 points for Joe Stiffen. Porter comes to the right. Stops and sends it up. It's not good, and the rebound comes down to Morgan. The Tigers stay in control. Pfeiffer starts right, and Dale is fouled from behind. I think it's on Joe Stiffen. It's his 3rd.
4-4. This way.
And concerned Luther Bedford there with his hand to his mouth, visiting with his assistant coach, Al Williams. He says, timeout. You see him signaling timeout. Now the players on the bench, nobody on the floor sees them, so there is no timeout. Very interesting shot there. And Calvin Pfeiffer for Lincoln has the ball. It's too late now to call timeout for Marshall. The ball goes inside. Marshall steals it. Coming out with it is Stiffen. Look at him go down the court. He's fouled on the move by Calvin Pfeiffer.
Good straightaway speed there by Joe Stiffen. He pushed that baby out and just outrun the defense.
Good strength. He stole the ball.
He came out of there like he was coming out of the starting blocks in the 100-yard dash. Boom, here he comes down the lane. He's a little bit of a blur, folks. Pushed it out, ran right around the defensive man.
Back to live action. Stiffen tries along the baseline, no good. Rebound to Lincoln. Now, speaking of a 100-yard dash, I'll bet he would be a very good competitor in that event. Coming to the right is Pfeiffer. He wheels along the baseline, goes all the way to underneath, sends it back out to Dale. His shot missed. Jackson, finger roll.
That was a super drive down that lane, the penetration.
Now Marshall gets timeout. There's 4:59 to go in the 3rd. Lincoln leads 37-28. One of your network sponsors is John Deere.
I got my John Deere lawn and garden tractor the same year my son Eddie was born. They sort of grew up together. And I'll tell you, over the years, I've had more problems with Eddie than I've ever had with that tractor. John Deere builds them tough and solid. And your John Deere dealer is a man you can count on to keep them running year after year. Well, you may pay a little more for a John Deere, but they'll last. I'm not so sure about Eddie.
Good tasting, good for you Chungking. No artificial flavors or colors. No preservatives.
Try Chungking for your beautiful body. Try Chungking for your beautiful body. Try Chungking for your beautiful body. Try Chunking for the beautiful taste.
Crisp, crunchy vegetables, delicate deep water shrimp, tender chicken, good tastes from the good earth. Chungking, good food.
Try Chung for your beautiful life.
First champion with 30 wins in Illinois, Mount Carmel of 1927, 31-2. They defeated Peoria Central in that title game way back. Live action says 4:56 on the clock. Marshall's got a little hill to climb now. They're 9 down, and Fred Marshall pumps it through.
Well, he may climb it by himself.
He's a player. See how many that is for Marshall, a dozen. You have Pfeiffer almost over and back, and comes down to give to Porter. That was close.
Yes, the foot came over, but not the ball.
Ball is the important ingredient there. There's a lob inside intended for Jackson, intercepted by the Commandos. Now they're on the hunt down the court. There's 7 down. Horn puts them 5 down. James Horn baseline with his 5th point. 4:18 to go. Timeout has helped Marshall. They quit 4 quick ones. Pfeiffer turns, lobs to Jackson. Jackson playing with 3 personals. He goes to the high post. Porter's low on the right. Now he exchanges with Dale downstairs. Pfeiffer way outside, holding the ball in control. 1-2-2 zone defense, or maybe 3-2 for Marshall. Morgan's on the left wing. Jackson wasn't ready for the pass, but Porter picked it up. It went off the glass. Now Stiffen rebounds, and Marshall has it. Now they could cut it to 3. Fred Marshall on the right side. It's Kevin Rice. His shot is not good, but he is fouled, and it's on Tyrone Jackson, his 4th.
Take a look at that 4th foul by Tyrone. That is going to have a great effect upon the game here.
Number 30, Roderick Horn, comes in. He is a 6'5", 195-pound, 16-year-old junior.
You know, Frank, there are 6 juniors on the floor for these 2 teams at the start of the ball game. Each team's got 3, which means they're both going to be tough next year. You had Kevin Rice, Joe Stiffen, and Anthony Upshaw for Marshall, and then Mark Dale, a junior, Darrell Morgan, and Calvin Pfeiffer for East St. Louis.
Free throw not good. Rice missed a pair. Lincoln's lead is at 5. They have the ball. Fred Marshall steals it. He dives for it. It goes out of bounds to Marshall. Nice defensive work by Fred Marshall. Oh, the desire to win is very real.
I'm very much impressed with Fred Marshall. He handles that ball so well and handles everything out there. He settles everything down, and he's a fine scorer, can score when they have to have it.
You can almost not name a very successful basketball team who does not have an effective point guard. On the baseline left, traveling violation on Anthony Upshaw. So Marshall turns it over without a shot to the Tigers. The Blue Devils of Quincy will play Mendel Catholic in our 2nd semifinal immediately following this game. This one's a long way from being decided. Pfeiffer has the ball poked away from him from behind, and Marshall comes up with it. The Commandos refuse to fold the tent. Left side Horn looks. Marshall's usually the man with the ball for the Commandos. He backs up and looks at the 2-3 zone. Gives a fist in the air. That signals a play. They roam the baseline with Upshaw. Here's a bad pass intercepted by Darrell Morgan. And Marshall twice in a row turns the ball over without a shot. 2:30 to go, 3rd quarter. Lincoln 37, Marshall 32. Todd Porter turns, gets inside, puts it up with the left hand and missed it. Stiffen tips it out. Anthony Upshaw running. Horn, baseline, and holds. Marshall gets it inside to Stiffen. Steps in, puts it off the glass, missed it, and they foul. He just says, the official says white ball out. And a turnover on your screen. The Lincoln has turned the ball over 3 times more than Marshall, and several more times than they'd like to.
Joe Stiffen's 4th foul right there.
All right, it was a foul on Stiffen, his 4th, and there is a big factor too, as both Tyrone Jackson and Joe Stiffen, the opposing centers, are with 4 personals. Jackson is not in the game. Stiffen is. Korn has the ball snapped away from him, and now a whistle and a foul coming up against number 30, Roderick Korn of the Tigers, and they're going from one end to the other now in the turnover capacity. Roderick Korn picks up the personal. Marshall will have it out of bounds. There's Kenneth Mixon, 31, in, and James Horn goes out. So Luther Bedford gambling a little bit, hoping that Joe Stiffen can stay in the ball game with 4 personals. Of course, he's 5 down, and this is it. There's no tomorrows. The corner, Fred Marshall pumps it up. Strong rebound to Mark Dale for Lincoln. Lincoln with that powerful baseline. Pfeiffer over to Darrell Morgan. Pfeiffer on the motor, turns and hangs, and a whistle and a personal foul called against Marshall. Now, we talked earlier yesterday, Dick, about the fact that Lincoln's Tigers are not great foul shooters. They lead by 5 points, and of course, they're going to have opportunities at the free throw line.
Well, that's right. That alone can beat you. They've shot from the line 57% all season, and that really could be a factor.
Marshall shoots a little better than 70. Let's see. What is Marshall's free throw?
Marshall's free throw shooting is 65.
65. All right, free throw is home. Calvin Pfeiffer, he has 5. He's perfect at the foul line with 3 attempts. Tigers 8 out of 11 there. Here comes another. 39-32. Tigers by 7. Come the Commandos. Way out on the court now. Michael Brown over in the corner. It goes to Stiffen. Marshall gets back within 5. Stiffen with 15 points. Near steal in the back line by number 10, Michael Brown.
Well, Marshall refuses to quit. They've come off 2 timeouts and rallied. They just seem to come in spurts.
Stiffen, their center, playing with 4 personals. Here's a lob inside. Todd Porter threw it back to Pfeiffer when he was still out of bounds. And Lincoln turns it over. That's the 16th unofficial turnover against the Tigers. 1:18 to play in the 3rd quarter. The game is still to be decided. 5'8", Michael Brown giving Anthony Upshaw some rest at point guard here. There's Freddie Marshall playing baseline. Brown slides to the right. Kevin Rice is going to try from the foul line. He got it in. Kevin Rice, with 1 minute, pulls Marshall within 3. Todd Porter up the court. Todd starts to the left. He's stripped by Kevin Rice. Here come the Commandos in the lane. A whistle, traveling violation on Marshall. With 49 seconds to go, East St. Louis Lincoln says timeout. Lincoln's lead is 3 points. One of your network sponsors, DeKalb Ag Research.
Species, Z-Amaze, name, DeKalb XL67. Emergence, very quick. Ear retention, very good. Dry down, very fast. Ear size, very big. Yield potential, very high. Comment? Very nice. XL67.
At the Suitery, we're serious about giving you more. More worldwide designer-inspired fashions. More richly tailored fabrics. More selection than ever. And more professional clothiers to help you. And now, with our revolutionary markdown policy, the Suitery saves you more than ever. Choose a complete sportswear wardrobe for as little as $99. The Suitery, where your taste level is more affordable than ever. For the Suitery nearest you, dial S-U-I-T-E-R-Y. Suitery.
IHSA Network co-sponsors Country Companies Insurance, and its nearly 1,000 agents are delighted to have you with us this afternoon. Don't forget, next Saturday, the Girls Championships. Class A is at 1, Class AA at 8. Tyrone Jackson and Todd Porter in 3 years together for Lincoln are 70-7. They got their work cut out here, Dick Campbell.
Yes, they do.
Todd Porter's inside. He has 8 points, and that's a 5-point lead now as we head to the end of the third quarter. Marshall has been behind throughout this game, but they keep coming back. They're 5 down now. Are they going for the last shot? Doesn't appear so. Marshall has the ball stolen by Darrell Morgan. There's a big turnaround possibly here for Lincoln. The Tigers come up. Pfeiffer in the back line. He's hawked by Michael Brown. 13, 12, 11. Marshall stays with the zone. Lincoln wants one. Pfeiffer to the right. Ball snapped out of his hands. He picks it back up. Inside Porter in the paint for 2. At the horn, Todd Porter's goal is good. The score at the end of 3 quarters. Lincoln 43, Marshall 36. One of your network sponsors, Country Companies Insurance.
The spirit's alive for all to see. The spirit of the country.
The spirit of the country. It's being there when you need it and lending a helping hand. That's the spirit you live by. And at Country Companies Insurance, it's the spirit we do business by.
Spirit's alive for you and me. The spirit of the Country Companies.
Rattle, rattle, thunder, clatter, boom, boom, boom.
Don't worry, call the CarX man.
One thing you don't have to worry about at a CarX muffler shop is the price. People call to see how much it costs and what they get for their money. And you'd be amazed how many of those callers become our customers. Of course, it could be my pleasant telephone boys.
Rattle, rattle, thunder, clatter, boom, boom, boom.
Don't worry, call the CarX man.
8 minutes. The final 8 minutes in the first 3 quarters. The Tigers of East St. Louis shooting 44% on 17 of 39. The Commandos at 41%. Foul shooting about even in attempts. The Tigers have made 75% of theirs. They own the boards at 32 to 20. Turnovers about even. Final quarter. One of these teams will win the right to go to the championship game tonight. Marshall starts with the ball. Horn to the goal. He spun it out. Two players for Marshall rebound together. Kevin Rice, they got tangled up and traveling. Tough break for the Commandos.
Yes, it was. They're down 7 now. We're going to have to say this. Fred Marshall is going to have to marshal the Marshall offense.
A traveling violation called against Lincoln. I won't try that. And now, Marshall's Commandos, the Chicago Public League champions in the maroon and gold, face the test. A whistle. Ball out of bounds to Marshall, capped away by Pfeiffer of Lincoln. Marshall lost their first 3 games of the season and end up in the final 4. Tipped in nicely with a left hand. It was Kevin Rice. Well, he can jump inside. Rice has 6. Marshall's back within 5 points. That's Tyrone Jackson with 4 fouls is fouled by Fred Marshall. And that's a 4th foul on Fred Marshall. So Marshall's 2 big players, the big guns, Stiffened and Marshall, both have 4 fouls. And so does Tyrone Jackson of East St. Louis. There's a picture of Freddie Marshall. Good senior. Going to make a fine college player for some teams. Now Anthony Upshaw walks on the court. And Fred Marshall with 4 personals sits down. I don't think he'll be out long.
No, I don't think they can afford to wait very long with a player of his caliber.
Tyrone Jackson scored 7 points in the game. And he missed his foul shot. Kevin Rice rebounds. Marshall's 5 down. Still looking at the Lincoln zone. Stiffen is outside and tries it. He banked it in. Joe Stiffen has 17 points, and he shot the glass that time from that angle. 3-point game. Lincoln leading. Tyrone Jackson. Lincoln's always been resourceful enough. When Marshall's challenged, they've been able to answer it. Usually they've gone inside to Porter. Pfeiffer twirls away. That's Morgan. He's a good shot from there. He missed it. Mark Dale saved it, but to Marshall. Marshall can cut it to 1. In the lane, Rice Shot missed. There's a whistle away from the ball. It's against St. Louis. Let's see what the call is. No indication yet. Foul is on Mark Dale of the Tigers. And now, Benny Lewis, his Tigers in the lead. And he's watching as Mixon throws it into Upshaw. Mixon out of the corner. It's short. Good rebound by Dale. Tigers seem to get just what they need, just when they need it. Pfeiffer comes up. Jackson gets it over to Morgan. 6:25 in the game. Lincoln by 3. Ball inside to Porter. Stolen by Stiffen. He got it cleared. Lying on the ground, Joe Stiffen cleared the ball. It's up ahead to Horn. Marshall could come within 1 point with a goal. Horn shoots it. Good! 1 point game. And the Assembly Hall warms to the attraction. Foul, Upshaw. His second. The battle for the state champion continues tonight. It's being brought to you in part by DeKalb Ag Research and your local DeKalb dealer. They hope you're enjoying this exciting action. Frank Bassoni, along with Art Kimball and Coach Dick Campbell of Elmhurst, York, here at courtside, watching East St. Louis Lincoln try to hold off Chicago Marshall as the North battles the South in the state of Illinois. Free throw by Pfeiffer is there. He's made 5 in a row at the line, and he's got 7 points. Oh, and these are crucial. He's a 73% foul shooter, and he's really done the job for Lincoln today. A 3-point lead for the Tigers with 6 minutes to play in the game. Horn outside. Once again, Marshall could come within 1. They're in the maroon and gold. They look, they look. They go in the corner. Stiffen comes out high. Fred Marshall's out of the game. Stiffen turns in traffic, clears to Upshaw. They're very patient. Upshaw on the move to the right. Is right. They still exchange, still against the zone. Inside it goes. Bank shot by Mixon is in.
Nice execution, a very necessary basket. They worked patiently and got it right up to point-blank range.
And Mixon got his first goal at a crucial moment. 5:15 to play. Lincoln leading by 1 point. They have the ball. On the right goes Pfeiffer. Looks downstairs for Porter. Can't find him. Porter comes up high. They double-team Porter low. 5-minute mark. Lincoln with the ball and a 1-point advantage. Pfeiffer. Pfeiffer holds. Comes to Daryl Morgan. Game might be decided at the foul line. Todd Porter goes inside and he's held and fouled by Kevin Rice. Now Fred Marshall returns for the Commandos. Upshaw sits down. Todd Porter is at the line. Porter has made 2 out of 5 and made 10 points in the game. 2 out of 5 foul shooting, that is.
Remember again, he's a 48% free throw shooter.
So he actually is a good man to foul by the stat sheet. And he stuck that one in pressure. Lincoln now by 2. Some people believe that you should stay at the foul line after making the first one, but most I see Dick walk away after they shoot.
Yeah, they seem to. That's right. The safe you make it, you stay in there. If you miss, you want to walk off.
Here comes again. Missed that one short. But look at the rebound. Daryl Morgan. Turn, shoots. Missed it. Tipped up by Dale. Rebound. And a foul on Dale. No. Let's see what it is. They're walking like it's a foul against Lincoln. It is. It's a foul on Dale. I was confused because the Tigers were applauding. Watch.
Yes, let's take a look here. Their bodies all going up vertically and then coming up from underneath. That's right. I think it was a good call. Puts Kevin Rice at the line. He had the position, and the offending player tried to reach up underneath. You know, it's usually position. Players are confused. They think it's contact, but it's often position or lack of position that the official calls.
Rice's foul shot is not good. And Lincoln keeps the 2-point lead. The 2 free throws there could have tied the game. But no, with 4:30 to play in the game, it's double team ball, and over and back is going to be the call.
Yep. I think Pfeiffer thought that the ball had been stripped or been knocked out of his hand, and it should have been a loose ball. But Matt Lorich called a over and back because it went on the line.
Benny Lewis says his team turns the ball over too much. They've turned it over 18 times in this game. They still lead, though, by 2 points. Could Marshall tie it up here? Marshall has been tenacious, to say the least. Uncle Bedford standing up, talking to his charges. You see him on the lower portion of your screen. And now a whistle and a timeout. 4:08 to play in the game. Lincoln leading Marshall by 2. And one of your network sponsors is John Deere.
For years, people with big lawns have faced the same problem. What to do with the clippings? Now there's the John Deere 6.5 bushel twin bagger. 2 big hoppers you line with plastic trash bags, so cleanup's neat and easy. It could be the best way ever to take care of your clippings. We think everyone should have one. The twin bagger, available for John Deere lawn tractors and riding mowers.
Moby Dick, the screen adaptation of Herman Melville's chilling tale of Captain Ahab and his search to the death for a great white whale. This is Frazier Thomas. See Gregory Peck star in the classic tale of Moby Dick, Sunday afternoon at 3:30 on Family Classics here on WGN Television 9 in Chicago.
The 1936 champion Decatur is the state champ with most losses, 11. They were coached by the legendary Gay Kintner. All right, 4:08 to play. Marshall is 2 points behind, and they have the ball.
Frank, they have not led in the ball game except for the first 30 seconds they made the first free throw.
Stiffen shoots it up, missed it. Look at him follow his shot. He got it. Baseline, whistle, foul, blocking against Lincoln. It's on Todd Porter. Good effort there by Joe Stiffen as he shot an outside shot from about 12 feet and then followed it and grabbed it. And he'll get to go to the free throw line here.
See, the third possession of the ball that they've had, and with a chance to come to a tie. And they need the 2 here so they can at least get it up to that point. Sometimes you look back and say we never could get over the hump because we couldn't get the lead. Then they've never had it since the first minute of play.
Stiffen missed the free throw. They missed 2 crucial 1-and-1s in a row. And as we talked about Lincoln maybe having foul trouble with shooting, the Commandos have suffered there at the line. Here's a high lob downstairs to Porter. 3:40. Lincoln's content to hold the ball. Now they've got a 2-point lead. Pfeiffer comes to the left. A basket here would be very important for Lincoln.
Little delay game here, Frank. Spread them out. They got the lead.
Marshall's going to like a 1-2-2 zone or 3-2 zone, and they're shifting. And maybe Marshall's going to have to come out and apply some pressure to the ball. Clock heads to 3:20. That's Porter, outside left. Porter turns, double team now by the Commandos. He wheels around, heads for the baseline and stops. Now he turns and gets some help in Pfeiffer. Held the ball 20 seconds now. Pfeiffer turns, back to Porter. Porter slides through 2 people on the dribble. Porter handling the ball a little more than usual. Over to Pfeiffer, under 3 minutes. Lincoln leads by 2. Jackson at the high post. This is a delay game. It's 4 corners, perhaps, some people would call it. They have a high post outlet man in their center, Jackson. Porter heads for the basket. Inside, Dale for a layup.
Just a beautiful play. He sized the time up. You got them standing around a little bit thinking you're going to hold the ball for the foul, and then zip, he came down the line, drew somebody to him, and kicked it off to the open man underneath on the backside.
Dale has 10 points. 4-point lead Lincoln. 2:27 to play. Along the baseline, Marshall gets the ball. Fred dribbles way out of trouble. Their crowd yelling for him to take a shot, but they want a good shot. They've stayed in this game all the way through. Stiffen, or Horn, check it out of the corner. Shot, not good, but Rice rebounds. Stolen by Lincoln. Pfeiffer on the hunt. There he goes. Dunk!
I tell you, you got to make that one. If you miss that one, coaches get awful excited, especially at a crucial time like that. 6-point lead with 2 minutes is a big lead.
And a good timeout there by Marshall. 50-44 is Lincoln's lead. One of your network sponsors, DeKalb Ag Research.
Acres of gold, keeping America going. Acres of gold, keeping the trade winds blowing.
Plant DeKalb hybrids, and you'll harvest acres of gold.
It's a great feeling knowing we've got acres of gold.
You know what? We are sitting here ruining our weekend, pining away because Bob and Charlene moved to Dallas, when for the cost of a lousy bag of dog food, we could call them up and talk for 20 minutes.
How much is a lousy bag of dog food?
Right now, a 20-minute visit as far away as Dallas costs only $3.50. Dial direct anytime Saturday till 5 p.m. Sunday and save more than half the full weekday rate.
Received a lot of mail from you, and we'd like to thank you. It's always good to hear from you. Basketball Box 1531 is the address in Bloomington at 61701. We appreciate your kind comments about our coverage. 2 minutes to play in this semifinal game. Marshall has the basketball, but they're down 50-44. They've got to get some shots and get them down right away. Lincoln has only lost one game all year. Marshall fought through a tough public league. Inside Mixon shot, but Stiffen is there for a leaping rebound. Joe Stiffen.
What a play. What a time for a play.
1:38 to go. Marshall's 4 behind. And Lincoln's going to hold the ball. They're going to need to, Marshall will probably need to foul here. Porter comes across. He comes with the ball. There is the foul, and it is on Horn, I believe.
Not the worst thing in the world, as we said. The poor free throw shooting of this East St. Louis team, I think that's what they've got to do.
Actually, they've been a better foul shooting team in this game than Marshall has. But 12 for 16, the Tigers have converted. Marshall 6 for 15. So Marshall's foul shooting has certainly hurt them in this game. Now, Lincoln by 4. Todd Porter.
Well, Porter's maybe doesn't have the stats, but he's one of those guys when you have to have one, he's going to get it down.
Benny Lewis says when it's trouble, Porter takes over for the Tigers. Missed that. Stiffen rebounds, and Marshall runs. They're 5 behind. There's a minute 20 left. They've got 1 timeout remaining. Stiffen turns. They need a shot. Stiffen takes it. He got it. Joe Stiffen's got 21 points. 3-point game. Still time for Marshall. Here's an interception by Stiffen. He's taking over the game. Pfeiffer stole it back. Dunk! Oh, what a basketball play. What a major league play by Pfeiffer. Calvin Pfeiffer, 2 dunks. And Marshall takes its last timeout. A sparkling series of events. Lincoln by 5. One of your network sponsors is John Deere.
How long does a John Deere lawn tractor last? 10 or 15 years is not unusual, which means with ordinary use, you could mow a path from New York, across Pennsylvania, through Indiana, Missouri, Kansas, Colorado, Utah, all the way to the West Coast. Imagine mowing clear across America. Just think how many times you could mow your lawn. John Deere, you may pay a little more, but they'll last.
A message from Marshall Fisher, president of Danley's Garage World. We will not be undersold. We urge you to bring us any written estimate from any licensed builder for the same size and style garage with the same materials, codes, and extras, and we will meet or beat that estimate. Look, our new 82 custom built special is only $24.99. We're #1. 24 years of low prices, easy terms, quality construction. We will not be undersold. Make us prove it. Dial Garages 427-2437. Dial Garages now.
On this replay, Marshall's 3 points behind when Pfeiffer turns and steals the ball from Fred Marshall there. Pfeiffer takes it away from him, and now Calvin Pfeiffer, the playmaker who can slam D like that. Live action now, 53-48, 53 seconds. Marshall shot by Marshall does not go. Rebound tipped out to Pfeiffer. And here come the Tigers. Traveling, Calvin Pfeiffer.
Joe Stiffen almost tipped that one in, too. Is he playing like a, in a fury here in the last 2 minutes? He's quite a player.
He's 6'3", but he plays much, much bigger. 42 seconds to play. Marshall's 5 down. Horn shot is home. James Horn out of the corner. A three-point game with 30 seconds. A near steal in the backcourt, and now a whistle and a foul. It's on Michael Brown, number 10 for the Commandos, who's in the game to help play that defense on the full court.
Not a bad foul. Once again, it did stop the clock, and it puts them on that line and makes them convert. Calvin Pfeiffer is a good free throw shooter, though. 73 on the season, if stats mean anything in these pressure situations.
Well, he's made 6 in a row. In this game, he's got 12 points, and he's perfect in those 6. Pfeiffer made it. Boy, what a clutch performer he's been. He dunked 2 times in the quarterfinals and 2 key times here. These aren't just showboat dunks. These are things that really turn the game around.
That's right. And when you've got a playmaker that can stuff, you've got talent on your squad.
Again. Good again. 5-point lead for Lincoln. Marshall time running out. The clock's the enemy. Horn way outside. Forced it home. Horn with 11. It's a 3-point game. Marshall refuses to quit, and a foul. Smartest thing Marshall can do here probably is foul because it stops the clock.
And I think they've only got 1 timeout left, so they can't score and call the timeout. Well, they could do it one more time.
Horn committed his 3rd foul. That's not important. Daryl Morgan at the foul line is his first free throw attempt of the game. He came out smoking and hit 5 quick goals. He has 12 points in the game. Daryl Morgan, a junior.
It's a miss.
Marshall has the ball. They're 3 down. They're still alive. Horn, here he comes. Short, rebound. Marshall traveling. Walking violation on Marshall. Lincoln with 13 seconds. You see the clock in the lower right-hand corner of the screen. Lincoln ball. Foul right away by Marshall. They fouled Tyrone Jackson, who shoots free throws at 65%. Boy, this has been fun. Exciting basketball. John Deere and your local John Deere dealer, proud to be part of these IHSA basketball telecasts, and they hope you'll be with us tonight as we crown the 1982 Class AA champion. We'll come on tonight at 6:15. But, of course, this afternoon we have another look at the Quincy Blue Devils and another look at Mendel Catholic as they play this semifinal. Jackson's free throw is home. He has 8 points, and he's 2 out of 3 at the foul line. 11 seconds is all there is. Lincoln leads by 4 points. Now 5. It may be out of Marshall's reach now. Let's see. Horn, here he comes. He'll pull up, give the ball to Fred Marshall, who missed. Mixon rebounds in the lane. Mixon's shot is in, but time is run out. And that's all. It's over. And Lincoln is in the championship game. Lincoln wins over Chicago Marshall 57-54. And East St. Louis Lincoln's record is now a sparkling 28-1. Marshall concludes their season with a record of 25-8 and a fine year, too, for the Public League champions of Luther Bedford. Congratulations to Lincoln. We'll be back in a moment. One of your network sponsors, DeKalb Ag Research.
They got a
petroleum, fertilizer, herbicides, new equipment. When corn pays the bills, plant DeKalb XL 55A. You can depend on consistent high yields, regardless of growing conditions. Put more corn in your bins, more money in your pocket. Plant DeKalb XL 55A.
You going to do anything today?
Oh, weekends are for resting.
It's the perfect time to call your brother.
You're right. Hey, Eddie.
Eddie's in San Diego.
Weekends are for being silly, too.
Right now, a 20-minute visit as far away as San Diego costs only $3.67.
Hey, Eddie.
Dial direct anytime Saturday till 5 p.m. Sunday and save more than half the full weekday rate.
I've grown a full beard.
Oh, Eddie, don't.
East St. Louis Lincoln goes to the title game, and they will play the winner of the game between Mendel Catholic and Quincy coming up. There you see the final score. It was 57-54. It was a thrilling game throughout. Lincoln led from the outset, but Marshall refused to fold. Marshall kept coming back, making turnovers and making key baskets. They had great efforts out of Joe Stiffen and Fred Marshall, big clutch baskets out of James Horn late. But in the end, it was the Tigers of East St. Louis Lincoln winning and coming now to the title game. You're looking at the band from Palatine as the Assembly Hall is milling around, still talking about that exciting first game, and you see the officials at the Assembly Hall putting up the pairings for our second semifinal game. Of course, the undefeated Quincy Blue Devils of Jerry Leggett against Mike Flaherty, Chicago Mendel Catholic Monarchs, and that should be another excellent basketball game. But it was a close one, and it was a good one, and it's just like we expected, and we're happy to be able to bring you this fine Class AA tournament. Lawrenceville, as you recall, won a week ago, and they were an undefeated champion, and of course Quincy is trying to become the second undefeated champion in a row, an unprecedented feat in Illinois. So there's your scoring. Let's go through it with Stiffen, the leader for Marshall, with 21. Fred Marshall had 12, Horn with 11, Rice with 6, and Mixon with 4. Upshaw didn't score. That's for the Commandos of Marshall. The winners of East St. Louis Lincoln, look at the good balance they had. Leading scorer was Calvin Pfeiffer with 14, Morgan with 12, Porter also with 12, Dale with 10, and Jackson with 9. A wonderfully balanced Tiger team from East St. Louis Lincoln.